You're looking for a pool control box that won't turn your backyard into a tech headache, a piece of gear that just works, lets you focus on swimming, and actually saves you a few dollars in the long run. That's the exact dilemma most homeowners face when they start comparing a stack of load centers, transformers, and chlorine generators. Do you go with a cheap, single-purpose unit and end up adding more parts later? Or do you bite the bullet on a professional-grade system that promises to handle everything from lighting to pump automation? It's a classic right-size it or overspend decision, and the risk of picking the wrong box is you either end up with a tangled mess of wires under the deck or a system that can't keep up with the automation you've already invested in. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Pentair PacFab 522041 IntelliCenter Load Center with IntelliChlor transformer sits squarely in the one-stop shop camp. What makes it different from a plain load center is that the transformer for your IntelliChlor saltwater chlorinator is built right into the housing, so you don't have to mount a separate unit, run a dedicated feeder, and then wrestle with a second set of connections. For a typical residential pool, say a 15 by 30 foot in-ground with a pump, heater, lights, and a salt system, that integration cuts a few feet of conduit and eliminates a potential point of failure. In practice, I've seen installers finish the whole electrical portion in a single afternoon, instead of the 2-day job you get when you have to coordinate separate components. If you're the kind of pool owner who already runs an IntelliCenter or a compatible smart controller, the PacFab Load Center is essentially a plug-and-play upgrade. The multiple relays are pre-wired to talk to the IntelliCenter software, so when you set a schedule for your pump or a nighttime lighting show, the commands travel through the load center without you ever having to touch a breaker. That saves you the mental gymnastics of mapping which relay controls which device, something that can get messy when you have 3 separate relay modules stacked on a panel. Real-world owners tell me they appreciate that a single reset button on the front panel can restart all the relays if a storm knocks something out, rather than hunting for a tripped breaker in a crowded box. But the convenience comes with a trade-off that's worth flagging before you hand over your credit card. The PacFab is a professional-grade piece of hardware, which means the price tag sits well above the entry-level load centers you'll find at big-box stores. For a DIY homeowner who only needs a basic pump controller and a simple chlorinator, the extra cost of an integrated transformer and the extra relays might not translate into real savings. In fact, the rating on Amazon hovers around 3.9 stars out of 5, based on nearly 3,000 reviews, suggesting a mix of satisfaction and some frustration, likely from people who expected a set-it-and-forget-it experience but ran into installation quirks. Who should actually buy this? First, any pool that already runs a Pentair IntelliCenter or plans to adopt one in the near future. The load center's built-in compatibility means you won't need to buy an external transformer for the IntelliChlor, and you'll get a tidy, centralized relay layout that works natively with the software's automation rules. Second, commercial or large residential pools where the number of devices, pumps, heaters, waterfalls, lighting zones can quickly outgrow a simple 2-circuit breaker box. The multiple relays give you room to expand without having to retrofit another panel later. Finally, anyone who prefers having a professional install their pool electricals will find the PacFab's simplified wiring a genuine time saver for the electrician, which can shave a few $100s off labor. On the flip side, skip it if you're a small-scale pool owner with just a single pump and a basic chlorine system, or if you're on a tight budget and plan to manage everything manually. In those scenarios, a standard load center plus a separate IntelliChlor transformer will cost less upfront, and the complexity of the PacFab's internal wiring might actually be more than you need. Also, if you're not comfortable pulling a permit and having a licensed electrician do the work, the integrated design can feel intimidating. The unit is larger than a typical breaker box, and the internal layout is less intuitive for a DIY hand-wire job. Some reviewers have mentioned that the labeling on the internal relay board is smaller than they'd like, which can cause confusion during troubleshooting. Let's talk about practical strengths. The first is the reduction in wiring clutter. Because the transformer lives inside the same enclosure, you avoid the extra conduit that would otherwise snake from a separate transformer to the chlorinator. That also means fewer potential water exposure points, an important safety consideration for anything near a pool deck. Second, the relays are rated for heavy-duty duty cycles, so running a pump 24/7 in winter mode or cycling a heater multiple times a day won't wear them out prematurely. Third, the load center's front panel.